The Dallas Cowboys successfully put boots to Washington Commanders' behind, and Dallas Cowboys pass rusher Micah Parsons played a huge role in the dismantling of the Washington Commanders offense. This is coming off of the heels of Mike Zimmer challenging Micah Parsons to be a better leader. Some of you may have missed this, but this was discussed briefly before the game this past Sunday, and it seems like whatever Zimmer told Micah, it might have worked a little bit, because we got the most productive Micah Parsons appearance that we've seen in some weeks. Let's get right into this as we discuss the challenge that Mike Zimmer made to Micah Parsons, and I want to just kind of have a moment of honesty with you guys as a viewing audience, just as it pertains to kind of how I feel about the Dallas Cowboys right now. And I'm gonna be real, man. I've been a lifelong Cowboys fan my whole life, and this season in particular, something just doesn't feel right. We're gonna get into that first. A word from our sponsors. The Dallas Cowboys open up as 3.5-point betting favorites against the New York Giants in Jerry's world. Now, the Cowboys haven't been able to win a home game all season long, and this game against the New York Giants just for some reason is striking me as the one. So if you want to bet on any of your favorite NFL matchups, be sure to check out BetUS and use promo code YouTube150 when you do sign up, so you get a 150% sign up bonus. Again, appreciate BetUS for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back into it. No doubt, Micah Parsons had 4 tackles, 4 assisted tackles, and 2 sacks on the evening against the Washington Commanders. And if you were just watching the game, he absolutely had an impact. Micah Parsons, when on the football field, when he doesn't have one of these in his face, when he isn't in the locker room talking to reporters, when he isn't doing anything outside of chasing opposing quarterbacks, Micah Parsons is one of the most valuable players in the NFL. I just want to get that out there first before we start talking about anything else. But he's definitely a guy that just, he needs a little bit of seasoning, man. Micah just needs to be molded a little bit. He's like this big bright-eyed kid that just, he understands that he has the world in his grasp, and he has all these avenues and lanes open for him. It's just like he doesn't know how to focus on the task at hand. And it's like he's like a kid in the candy shop. He just wants to grab everything and put it in the basket, man. He needs some focus, and he needs some direction, some leadership, and that's what it seems like Mike Zimmer is trying to challenge Micah Parsons on. Mike Zimmer is challenging Micah Parsons to take the lead with the Dallas Cowboys, especially with guys like a Dak Prescott and DeMarcus Lawrence and Zach Martin now. Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb are essentially the next guys that entire team is looking at for leadership. And this kind of plays into what I was talking about earlier as far as the weird feeling I have about this team as it pertains to just rooting for them as a fan. We'll get there in a second, but first, I want to kind of take you guys through this quote. Zim's talking to me about my leadership and how I need to be better, Parsons said. I love that stuff because it bothers me when I feel like a coach is upset at me. He gave me a challenge, and I'm going to live up to that challenge. Parsons clarified that Zimmer wasn't necessarily upset with him, rather that he just wanted to see Parsons tap into more of his potential. He also didn't reveal what the challenge that Zimmer gave him was, but did expand on how he's had to learn and adapt to become a better leader. I'm learning how to lead differently. I'm learning how to become a better leader, Parsons said. It's challenging in these dark times. It was easy when we were always winning and we were always the ones whooping on people. And it didn't matter who stepped up or who was the light. And you were able to sit back and watch everything and how things unfold. But now people are looking at me. That is the definition of front running, by the way, Micah Parsons, but that's neither here nor there. This quote and what Zimmer is trying to do with Micah Parsons, I think everyone in that building at this point has come to the realization that Micah Parsons is rough around the edges. I think that everyone in that building at this point has come to the realization that Micah Parsons and his mouth is going to cause some issues for him at times. I think that everyone in that building understands that Micah Parsons, with what he's going to demand on the open market next season, what he's going to want, close to $40 million, he's going to want to be one of the highest paid non-quarterbacks ever. I think that everyone in that building understands that if that's what Micah Parsons wants, then Micah Parsons has to do a lot of growing, not just on the football field, but off the football field as well, because that type of price tag comes with some responsibility. Now, just looking in the short term, it seems like Micah Parsons took whatever pep talk Mike Zimmer gave him, he took it in stride, because you absolutely saw number 11 flying all over the field against the Washington Commanders. And the fact that the Cowboys' first 5 possessions against the Commanders went block field goal, miss field goal, Rico Dowdle fumble, punt, and then punt block, and the Cowboys still managed to win this game is a true testament to how the defense was really able to hang in there and battle. And Micah said it himself. Us as fans, we may be ready for these guys to tank, but let's keep it a buck. The players, they shouldn't be in the mindset of tanking. They shouldn't be in the mindset of wanting to lose. As much as it probably irks some of us fans, not me particularly, but some of us fans may get irked by the fact that Micah is saying, I'm not done yet. I don't plan on tanking. If the higher ups are looking for a draft pick, I hope that's ruined because we got a lot of football left to play. As long as I'm part of this team, we're always going to fight. I just have a couple of questions as it pertains to this quote. For one, are Jerry and the front office actually the ones trying to tank, or are you referring to the fan base that's asking for a higher draft pick? Are you referring to us as the higher ups? Because that in itself is an interesting quote, because that would make you feel as if it's been communicated to the team somehow that the Cowboys are in fact trying to tank. Even though Jerry's been pretty upfront in the fact that he feels like Cooper Rush gives this team the best chance to win, and they clearly seem like they're still trying to win games. So this quote from Micah was interesting because is Jerry them telling these guys that they're trying to tank? Or is Micah Parsons just saying that the fans are the higher-ups? I'm not really sure. But either way, as I said, some fans are not going to like that. But you shouldn't want your guys to want to tank. You should technically want your guys to think like this. And, I mean, honestly, I have no issue with this quote whatsoever. What I do have an issue with, however, is just, man, it seemed like it's gotten very, very difficult for me as a Cowboys fan to truly, feel good for these guys. I want to celebrate any of the players when they win. I want to celebrate the Cowboys as a whole when they do win. When they beat the Commanders, it was a nice little surprise. It felt good as a fan, but I just didn't feel good for any one player in particular, and that's just because I feel like these guys have really made it difficult to want to root for them. And maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me, and I'm perfectly fine if it is just me. I'm entitled to feel how I feel, but this is just me. I've always been consistent in saying I like my athletes, I like my sports played a certain type of way and approached a certain type of way. And no, I'm not going to dislike players if they don't fit into that mold, but I damn sure I'm going to have a hard time trying to want to root for guys that just honestly go against everything that I believe is in the spirit of competitiveness, is in the spirit of the game, is in the spirit of the sport. And I just feel like, bro, just a lot of the antics, man. Just a lot of the antics. Micah and his podcast and him constantly talking and constantly needing to feel like he needs to say something. Constantly needing to feel like he needs to be in front of a camera. And then CD and Trevon with the whole clubbing thing right after the game. And the temper tantrums and the locker room outburst. And it's just, these guys have showed a level of immaturity that as a grown man is just a little bit cringy. It has made it a lot harder for me as a fan to just, I don't know, want to pull for them. I'm pulling for the Cowboys. I'm always pulling for the Cowboys. But the main characters that make up this cast of Cowboys players, bro, these guys have made me want to turn the channel. And that's just being completely honest with y'all, bro. Like, again, I hope for nothing but success for CD and Micah and all these guys. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I mean, it's just all this talking and the off the field activities and the extracurricular stuff that Micah and CD and Trevon and some of these guys have, I don't know, it's just really been to the forefront this season. It's just kind of turned me off a little bit. So it's like, I'm happy for him, but at the same time, it's just kind of like, I'd be okay with losing and getting some new guys in here too. I don't know, man. It's put me in a really weird space as a Cowboys fan. Do I want to get a good draft pick? Yes. Do I want the team to purposely go out there and embarrass themselves? Absolutely not. If we just organically get a good draft pick, cool. But trying to win games, and I don't know, man. Just the rah-rah stuff at the wrong time. It just seems like the timing of winning and what these guys say is just, it's just never the right time, it feels like. But I'm not going to turn a molehill into a mountain, bro. Again, congratulations to them boys. Congratulations to Micah Parsons. Hopefully, whatever message Zim and any of these other guys are trying to get through to some of the young leaders on this team, hopefully those messages get through at some point. I think the main message Micah just really needs to grasp. I think the main message he needs to grasp is sometimes less is more, brother. There's a such thing as being oversaturated. And I think at this point, we hear you on the podcast. You give these long, exacerbated answers when you're doing interviews with reporters. We hear you after the game. We hear you before the game. We see you on camera at the game. We see you shaking hands with Jay-Z. We see this and that. Sometimes less is more. And I think a lot of the players on this team could probably benefit from a little bit less media and internet and social saturation. And Micah, you could definitely benefit from just stop talking so much, bro. Let your play on the field talk for you, bro. That's really why people fell in love with you the first couple seasons you were here, Micah. It wasn't like you was saying anything crazy. You wasn't giving us any crazy headlines or anything. Bro, you were going out there and causing havoc on the field, and you just wasn't saying much. Take me back to them days. Take me back to them days. Again, I'm not taking issue with anything Micah said in this article or anything we covered in this particular episode. It's just, as a fan, I just find myself in a weird space. And I guess I just kind of wanted to vent and ask you guys, like, is it just me? Is it just me? Am I like, in a weird way, am I like slightly hating on these dudes or something? Why do I feel not so celebratory about them winning this game or anything? And it has nothing to do with the tanking thing. It's just like, bro, it's genuinely hard for me as a person, as a man, to root for people that display certain traits and tendencies. And yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at with it right now. I don't know, I'm feeling a little bit weird. But either way, we stink. Them same old Cowboys. Let me know down in the comments below. Am I tripping? Do y'all kind of understand what I'm getting at right now? And that's just how I feel. I'm not trying to make nobody feel the way I feel. I'm not trying to convince y'all to feel the way I feel. I'm literally just having a dialogue, a conversation with y'all right now. One fan to another. And I just kind of want to check the temperature a little bit. But either way, till next time.
Calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still in ball? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still in boys. Hey! Woo! Hey! I'm still in boys.